So we're here with Lisa today. We're doing some level 4 material. We're also going to have a look at Chum Kill, the first part, which is in level 5. So as part of our coronavirus lockdown, we're maintaining good social distance and we're going to go through our advanced Silentau. We're going to do our level 4 drills. We're going to spend a little bit of time on the first third of Chum Kill because there's a lot in that. And then we're going to have a look at the wooden dummy. So for level 4 we need the first 20 moves. For level 5 we need the next 20. So we're going to go to the first 40 moves. And I want to say at this point, under the online training tab on our website, if you go down that tab, you'll see that there's a section on wooden dummy. So if you're doing level 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc., you'll find that Sifu Linda has got all of her videos there explaining each 10 moves and also the applications on a person. So that's a great resource to have a look at. You'll see the wooden dummy done at real speed and then in slow motion, and she's doing it from both sides. So that's a great resource to have a look at. We'll also have a talk about Silentau. What are the things that we learn in Silentau? What does it teach us? So we'll go straight into Silentau, advanced Silentau, and then after that we'll talk about what are the things that it teaches us. All right. So we'll do advanced Silentau first. We're going to go through slowly, so you go through at your pace with us. If you need to stop the video at any time, replay, just do so. We'll be here when you get back. Okay, so advanced Silentau.
Hi.
So one of the differences here is the large Huon Sao and then the palm strike. So we do the Fook Sao, pushing forwards with forward intention, Tan Sao, large Huon Sao, palm strike, and then back to the Wu Sao. And Pak Sao cross, palm strike, Tan Sao, large Huon Sao. Now before we go to the second part, Lisa, I want to say, when we do the Huons, the large Huon Sao, we're not going across the body in a circle. We're going straight down, out and back, out and back, out and back. So it's like a hooking movement. If I do it from the side, we're here, or from Tan Sao, it's a hooking movement out and back. So vertically comes from the centre out to the outer gate and then back around. Okay, so moving into the right hand. Punch, Huon Sao, palm strike and back. First Fook Sao. Coming back to the second Fook Sao. Third Fook Sao. Pak Sao, palm strike, and back. Gum Sao, Gum Sao. Double palm strike, double jump Sao. Bill Sao. Now, before we go any further, I'll just do that movement again. So we're stepping back on a 45-degree angle with a Fatsao and a Tansao, which is on my centre. Turning back by lifting the left heel. Extending out to the right-hand side. Again, if you look at the feet, they're more in a horse stance. Tansao, if I look directly forwards, my wrist is on my centre and my Fatsao is out on the 45. Turning back to the front, right hand over left. Fatsao, Tansao. Fatsao, Tansao, arm strike. Biusao, scooping to the centre line, Gansao, Tansao. Small Huan-sao, arm strike, big Huan-sao. Tansao, Gansao, Tansao, palm strike in the centre and back around. Now this is an extra part in advanced Silentao, which is the Tansao that comes in from the stomach and forward on our centre line. Jumsao, Tansao. Small Huan-sao, palm strike and back. Right hand, I think that should have been a large Huan-sao. Palm strike and back. Next stage is we turn on our 45-degree angle into a side neutral with a Bong Sao, which is a rising block. Palm strike, Gum Sao, palm strike. Right hand side. Palm strike, Gum Sao, palm strike. Now, an extra part in advanced Silentao. We do a Fatsao to the rear, so 45 degrees to the back. So fist at the elbow, we turn, looking over our shoulder. Fatsao, clear. Clear. Fatsao, clear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're done. All right, if you got any questions about that, send me a message either on Messenger, text message, email, Facebook, and I'll get back to you on it, or we'll put those questions into the next video. All right, so from our advanced Silentao, we're going to move forwards into our drills. So we'll start on the 2 drills specifically for level 4. Before we start our drills, I just want to explain a little bit about Silentao. So Silentao is our first form. We do that in levels 1, 2, 3. In level 4 we move to advanced Silentao. But what are we actually doing in Silentao? One of the main things about Silentao is our structure and our posture. So with our knees bent, hips rotated slightly forwards, clench our butt cheeks a little bit, put a bit of tension in there, and clench the floor with your feet. So this is about grounding, posture and structure. So concentration on our centre line. My centre line goes from here straight through to between my feet, all the way through my body. So that's what we call my centre line. By having the back straight, having the hips slightly turned, my back straight, provides clear communication through the body. So we've got 50-50 balance on the thighs, the knees are slightly bent so we keep slight constant tension there. With our movements, some of the movements we do in a single arm. Some of the movements we do double arm. We do double Tan Sao, double Tan Sao, double Huan Sao. And why do we do this? The reason is because in Wing Chun we do everything on both sides of the body equally. So we want to practice using the left and right sides of our brain at the same time so that we can develop independent use of our arms and legs. So that if I elaborate that further, for example, a lot of people when they kick throw the hands as like a counterweight. That's not independent use of arms and feet or limbs. If I go like that, every time I do a round kick, that's not independent use of limbs. This is. So when I'm doing a front kick and I keep my hands completely independent so that I can do something else with them. So I can block and kick at the same time. That's independent use of arms and feet or limbs. So that's one aspect. The centre line. Everything that we do in Silim Tao tends to focus on our centre line. We do, however, go from our centre line out to our central line. The central line is, imagine a box with two upper gates at face level. So in front of my shoulders, directly out, down to my waist, middle gates, down to the chest as sternum is like the middle gates, further down to the hips is the lower gates. So we've got upper gates, middle gates, lower gates. That defines my central line. So anything I do in Silim Tao is focusing on those two things. And you might think, but I'm doing Tan Sao in the centre. If Lisa was to throw a punch at me and if I blocked with a Tan Sao to the centre, I'd still get punched in the face. Absolutely right. Because even though we do this to the centre, in reality, if someone was to strike me, I would be turning my feet. So now, even though my Tan Sao is in my centre, it's actually on the outer gate, looking at me from the opponent's perspective. So even though I'm practicing here in a self-defense application, there it is, and it's still in my centre, but my body has turned. So this is what we mean by central line and centre line. If we do a Biu Sao, it's in front of our shoulder. It's not out there. There's no point. It's not out there. Do a Biu Sao straight in front of our shoulder. Again, it's within our central line. Anytime you block outside of that area, you're doing two things. One is you're wasting energy, and the other thing is you're exposing yourself to further attacks. So in Wing Chun, anytime we try and defend, we do it within that box there, called our central line. Hopefully that makes it clear that when we're in Silim Tao, we're concentrating on our posture. We're thinking of our centre line. We're performing our motions on our centre line. But we're also conscious of the fact that in a self-defense scenario, we are actually performing that technique to the outer gates. Now in our Silim Tao as well, what are we learning? we're learning forward intention. So we learn centre line, central line, forward intention. So when we're pushing forwards with our Fuchsau, what are we doing with that movement? Why are we doing it slowly? Why are we pushing forwards with our Tansau slowly? We're doing that because as we push forwards, we visualise in our mind someone pushing forwards on us as we push forward against them. So pushing forwards, we are exerting our own power from the ground to the opponent through our forward intention. See, the connection that I talked about earlier with the ground is very important. The equal balance of my body is very important as well. So when I'm pushing forward here, I'm actually pushing forward from the ground through my body forwards into the opponent. Similarly with the Tansau. Tansau is a forward-seeking movement. It's not a static, deflecting block. It can be used as a forward-seeking, pressing forwards movement. So often in Chisau, for example, when we're doing Tansau, we move this one back, move this arm back into Tansau, we're actually waiting for that opportunity to strike with that hand or take possession of the neck or the head. So when we're in Silentau, we're pressing forwards with that Tansau. In your mind, you should be pressing forwards with that Tansau. Also in Silentau, we're focusing on our breathing. We haven't talked about it a lot, but as we're pressing forwards, we're breathing out, exhaling. Breathing in, exhale. As we strike, we exhale. Exhale as we strike. So breathing is very important to us during Silentau. Proper flow of energy through our body, or qi, is important. So Silentau is not just an exercise in going through our techniques of Wing Chun. It's not about the shapes or movements of our hand. Silentau is actually a Qigong exercise. It can be done at whatever pace you want. You can do it extremely slowly and take 20 or 30 minutes to do the complete form. And as you're doing so, you're thinking about the connections within your own body. You're thinking about, is that a straight line? Is my power coming from the ground in a straight path through to my opponent? How are the connections between my lower leg and upper leg? Can I feel my hip joints? Can I feel my lower back? Can I feel that connection with the ground? So when I strike forwards, can I feel the power coming from the ground to the opponent? We think about range to our opponent. So when we do a Bong Sau, which is a rising block, where is the position of our arm? Do we reach? No. The whole point of this form is to establish the correct structural position for when you make contact with an opponent. So then, in a moment of self-defense or in sparring or anything else, in a split second, you adjust your posture, your structure, to maintain your centre line and the range from your eyes or body to your arm going forward. So at the point of making contact, you're at the perfect range where you've maintained your structure. So you're not striking forward and leaning and corrupting your centre line. So repetition of Silentau ingrains into our body the positions to move into when we do a strike or a block, so that we maintain our best position of structure, stability and generation of power, all coming from our connection with the ground. Okay, so let's move from what we learn in Silentau into advanced Silentau, and we look at a couple of extra things that we do in Silentau, in advanced Silentau. So one is we introduce the extra tan sao coming in. In the first one, we come from the outer gate. This one, we come from the centre line straight forwards, because in a tight scenario, we've got to dig that person out from being close into us. So the person's in close, so we're digging them out. They throw an uppercut or a knee, so the jam sao is a dropping move. It's dropping our forearm and our knife hand onto them there. So that's one of the things that we introduce. The large Huon sao. The large Huon sao is designed to pick up a low punch or a low strike. Could be any sort of low strike, and it picks it up and deflects it. Picks it up and deflects it. Very, very useful in double arm chi sao. We also in this form introduce the greater use of our feet, looking at the angles. So moving from a static structure here to a fairly dynamic position there, where we've moved, we're still in perfect structure, but now we're using both arms together, again focused on our centre line, and then how to transition. So we learn transitioning movements as well. So this is where it's the advanced version of Silentau. Lastly, in advanced Silentau, we come down with the fist at the elbow and we do our fat sao. Again, because opponents don't always attack from the front, they can attack from the side. So this is a sweeping fat sao, clearing that arm before we then attack. Fat sao, like so. So advanced Silentau has brought some extra things to our first form, which is Silentau. Alright, so we're going to go through the first 40 moves on the dummy. Lisa is going to do the first 40 and I'll just make comments and suggestions and things that you may find helpful. So we'll go through this. Don't forget, for the most accurate example of doing the first 40 moves on the dummy, have a look at Sifu Linda's videos under the online training tab on our website, www.wingchunkungfubendigo.com.au. Alright, so I'll just move over here. Lisa is going to start with the entry. Okay, so before we go to the next 20, I'll make a few little notes here, and these are things that a lot of people do. And one of the things about the wooden dummy is it's teaching us range. So when we first start learning the wooden dummy, I say to people, just do the wooden dummy one move at a time. Then have a look at your feet, have a look at your hands, see if I'm in the right position. Is my tan sao exactly how a tan sao should look? Is my gan sao exactly how the gan sao should look? Is my angle, are my arms straight? Are my arms on 45 degrees? essentially, or a 90 degree here, or 135, or whatever we're doing. Check our feet, check our hands after every move. So when we do the entry, I'll just explain a couple of things. First thing is, find the right range. When we enter, we step across with a distracting move. We land on the ball of our feet, and we land at wrist on wrist range. We take this arm in a larp sow and around the back of the head. Palm strike. The puck sow is like that. It's not like that or that or that. It's like so. Transitioning around. Moving back. So are our feet in the right position? Is this leg in the centre? Am I in the centre of the dummy? So again, going back to Sill and Tao, this is about range, centre line. Bong sow. So with our bong sow position, is the wrist in our centre? Is my hand in an intercepting position? Is the angle forwards as well as downwards? So at this point, am I inside neutral? Is my tan sow straight, or am I like this? If I'm like this, it means I'm too close. So I need to be back an extra couple of inches. Garn sow. Again, looking down at my feet. Am I in the centre? Yes. Then it's okay. With this move here, our right hand is doing a fook sow and controlling that arm, so it's lifting it up slightly. This is a tan sow but coming in, so-called a lan sow, but it's also a forward seeking move. So we're forward seeking to spear towards the opponent's face. It then changes to a jut sow. So I turn over and I'm still controlling the arm. My knee is nicely positioned so I can't be kicked in the groin. Palm strike. So if my structure is right, that power is coming from the ground. It's not coming from me throwing my body into it. It's coming from the ground. Stepping across into side neutral with the arm break. Then we step back inside neutral. Stepping back again, and then we're ready to repeat on the other side. Okay, next 10. Yep.
And then how do I transition to the next
Garn sow.
one?
Yep, but you did with zero footwork.
Yes, that's true.
So start back from the garn sow. There. Now you would be in a side neutral at that point.
Right.
So then you change to the opposite side neutral. Turn that left hand into a little sow correct. Arm strike up the centre. Lovely.
Back to
Okay.
side neutral there.
Yep.
And then here.
Good.
And then strike.
Yep.
Watching where I land my foot.
Just don't stab yourself
Arm
with the
across.
arms. You do you too
Back.
close. Good.
Again. Landing back.
Lovely. All right, so in the next 20, so we've just finished across here. So we're now, or we've actually finished here. So we're now going to puck sow. The guard is up. Again, we're in right side neutral. left side neutral. Pak Sao again across to the outer gate. We've moved this arm just underneath it because that's going to move around to control the opponent's arm. Pak Sao, control it. So as we Pak Sao and T-step, then we step forward with a Chun Sao or a threading hand, which as we step forward into a front stance, it threads up underneath here straight towards the opponent's face, and this hand comes back to guard. So we follow through with a Lap Sao, stepping back into front stance, Pak Sao, front stance. Stepping back, same thing on the other side. Again, look at your structure, look at the position of the feet. T-step. Am I in a good position? As I step forward with my Chun Sao, it threads up underneath palm strike. So my Chun Sao threads up. It literally takes control of the person's elbow. Lap Sao on the arm. So we're pulling the arm, striking into the head with our forearm. Punch from a forward position, forward stance. Gan Sao. Back. Now, person could be coming at us with knees or could be coming at us with low punches or kicks. Gan Sao. Low Bong Sao. Low Bong Sao. Low Bong Sao. Each time, this hand comes back to guard. Now, I want to step off and do a side kick. If I do a side kick from here, I'm too close. So this is where you need to practice your range. So from here, I'm going to intercept a punch coming at me with a Pak Sao. I step off, spear back under the arm with a Bilji strike. Side kick, perfect range, guard down. Position of the foot is crucial. So you've got to think about where are you putting the foot before you actually do it. So from here, I step carefully and place the foot. If you like, I'm in a Charlie Chaplin stance. I then adjust the left foot as I do my next low Bong Sao. Puck. So as I Pak Sao, I'm stepping off to get the right range. Strike. Again, I place the foot down. I don't just fall where I may. And there we have it. So, work on that. You don't need a wooden dummy to do the wooden dummy form. I'm going to go through now with Lisa how to do the wooden dummy form in the air. So you guys at home can practice that without the necessity of having a wooden dummy. So Lisa hasn't done the wooden dummy form in the air, but we're about to. So that'll be fun. All right. So we'll start off from a left side neutral, right side neutral, left side neutral. We step off to the right, take the head and the arm, palm strike, stepping through with a Bong Sao, turning and palm strike. Gan Sao, Lan Sao, palm strike and back. Half step back, half step back. Now we do the entry from this side. Bong Sao, turning. Now we've got our Pak Sao, Pak-Sao. T-step. Pak-Sao. Stepping back. Pak-Sao. T-step. Stepping forwards with the Chun-Sao. Chop and Lap-Sao. Back to front stance with the punch. Gan-Sao. Lam-Sao. Punch. Back. Low Bong-Sao. Low Bong-Sao. Low Bong-Sao. Step off with your Pak-Sao. Finger strike. Pak-Sao. Finger strike. Side kick. And there we are. Don't need a wooden dummy to practice the wooden dummy form. All right, our drills. We nearly forgot. Okay, so 2 drills which are connected to what we did on the wooden dummy. So our entry on the wooden dummy is, if we start off in a side neutral, we take a step across. So we're stepping across. We're not stepping way forwards in an attack. This is a distracting move. So we're stepping across to change our angle of attack. We then move in with a Bill Sao. It's not a Fat Sao, doesn't come up like that. It's a Bill Sao, and it's at wrist on wrist range. Okay, so we'll go through that again. So stepping across, that is our entry technique which we use on the wooden dummy and which we use on any human dummy who wants to give us grief. Okay, stepping across, lovely. So what we're going to do now is add on one of the drills from our level 2, which is Bill Sao, front kick, 4 punches, 5 punches. Okay, so stepping across, land on the ball of the foot, swivel, swivel that front foot, front kick, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Step back. 2. Whoops, I forgot the entry. 2. Good. Okay. 3. 4. 5. 'Change sides. Stepping across. Change. Front kick. Very good. 2. 3. 4. 5. 'Very good. Okay, so yeah, so we've got to practice both sides. Key thing with that attack is it's very often used. So Lisa is standing there. I attack. The reason I have my knee up is to protect against a kick coming from an opponent. And if I do attack and they don't, then of course I can kick and continue with hand punches. So it's a very dynamic attack, very useful. We need to practice that. All right, Next attack drill is stepping from so throwing the bilsow out. Now that can be connecting with an opponent's lead arm. Can also be a distracting Bill G strike to the face. And a round kick, stepping forwards. Side kick, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're practicing high 2-level punching. You can mix the combination up however you like. Everything depends on your opponent. So if the gap is high, punch high. If the gap's low, you punch low, low, high. So mix up your punches as a drill. Alright, so we'll start again. So from the left front, bilsow, round kick, side kick, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, again. 1, 2, 3.
I forgot my hands.
It's alright. I just changed
You
side
change
anyway.
sides.
Bilsow, round kick, side kick, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, doesn't matter which side you do it from, as long as you can do it from both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Alright, so those are our 2 drills for level 4. There are lots of other drills that you can create. A little simple one, which we'll do in other lessons, is to do things together. Learning to use our hands to do 2 things at once. So I'm changing here to do a straight punch, Gansau, change to do a Tansau, intercepting on the centre line, deflecting and punching through. Tansau, scooping up, like in our advanced Silentau, turning, scooping up and turning, turning, bilsow, 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 gansau, gansau. So you can make up your own drills, practice them, send me in some info on what you've discovered. Thanks, Lisa, for today.
Thank you, Sifu.
Thank you, everyone. Hope you've learned something out of today, and we'll continue on with another level 4 lesson next time. See you then.